How's it going, everyone? DFS Phenom back with Sunday's Week 4 slate. I want to do a recap of Thursday Night Football, so let's get into it. The good, we had Brandin Cooks, 42 points, Jared Goff, 42 points, Kirk Cousins, 35 points, Bailey, 12 points, Woods, 24 points, Rudolph, 10 points. Let's look at Sunday's slate. Alright, so what I'm going to look at first is quarterbacks. I have a few in mind, but I really like Matt Ryan at 6,100. If you looked at what he's done in the last 3 games, he's thrown for 374, 272, and 251. Against New Orleans, he had 5 touchdowns with 0 interceptions, and he got you 43 DraftKings points. Week before that against Carolina, he's got you 31 DraftKings points. He's going up against the Cincinnati Bengals that are allowing 276 passing yards per game, and they're giving up 28 points per game. I really like Matt Ryan in this position, along with his salary cap. Next, I want to pair him with Calvin Ridley. Calvin Ridley is 4,900. And if you look at what he did last week, he had 8 targets. He turned 8 targets into 7 receptions and 3 touchdowns. Which at $3,700, he got you 43 DraftKings points. And the reason why I'm pairing Ryan with Ridley is because Julio Jones is still questionable, I believe, with a hamstring injury. And last week he only got you, I believe it was 18 DraftKings points. So I'm kind of nervous to spend $8,200 on him. So I'm going to pair Ridley with Ryan. Next one I like is Alvin Kamara. If you look what he's done over the last 3 weeks, he pays off. He had 37 points, 17, and 46 points. They're going up against New York Giants, which I believe they're giving up roughly 180 yards rushing per game. Their defense isn't that great, but 84 rushing yards per game. But what I do like about Alvin Kamara, Drew Brees only has 2 targets. It's Kamara and Thomas. So if you look at Kamara's targets, he had 20 targets against Atlanta. He turned 15 of those into receptions with 124 yards. He didn't even have a TD rushing or passing that game. So I really like Kamara in this spot. I'll go ahead and draft him as one of my high-priced players. Next, I want to look at tight ends. I'm still kind of in air about this, but I really like his position and his salary. I'm going to go with O.J. Howard. If you look what he's done the last 3 games, he's gotten you 13 DraftKings points, 18 DraftKings points, and 7 DraftKings points. And he's staying about the 3,500 salary mark. I know they're going up against the Bears, which kind of makes me nervous because Pittsburgh really put the pressure on Fitzpatrick, and he started turning over the ball. But if you look, last week he had 8 targets, and he turned 6 of them into receptions for 72 yards. I really like his salary, and I really like his consistency with what he's giving you in DraftKings points. So I'm going to draft him to give a little bit of salary relief. And then the last one is defense. I'm pretty sure I'm going to put this defense in all my lineups. Not 100% sure, but I think I'm going to. I'm going to go with Chicago Bears. And like I hit on before with O.J. Howard last week against Pittsburgh, they were putting pressure on Fitzpatrick, and he just turned the ball over. I think he had 3 turnovers by halftime. So I believe that Chicago's defense is a lot better than Pittsburgh. Look for them to pressure Fitzpatrick and produce turnovers. I also like, if you look what they've done the last 3 weeks, they're in double digits of fantasy points. So I really like them at 2,700, actually 2,600. So with this lineup, you're still having $5,800 to finish out your roster. You can find a lot of good plays for $5,800. I want to do one more lineup that I really like, but with this lineup you're going to have to find a lot of value elsewhere. So since we've already talked about the Bears, I'm going to put them in at 2,600. Okay. My next one is going to be quarterback. I'm going to go with Drew Brees. This guy has been throwing the ball all over the field and lighting teams up. Look what he did last week. He had 396, 243, and 439. In 3 weeks, he's got you 43 DraftKings points, 17 DraftKings points, and 34 DraftKings points. He had 3 touchdowns against Atlanta, 2 against Cleveland, and 3 against Tampa Bay. This offense is all about him throwing the ball. He's putting up, 49 attempts, 35, and 45 attempts. I really like his upside for 6,600. I actually think he is underpriced. I really like his value. In 3 games, he's thrown over 1,000 yards already. He has 8 TDs and no interceptions. So I really like his value here. Next one I want to look at is wide receiver. And I'm going to go with Michael Thomas. You look what he's done in the last 3 games. 25 DraftKings points, 31 DraftKings points, 42 DraftKings points. He's had 10 targets, 13 targets, and 17 targets. Between him and Kamara, these 2 are getting all the targets from Drew Brees. So I will pay that $9,100 for Michael Thomas because he's going to give you 3 times your return if you draft him. So I'm going to plug him in as well. Now I've already hit on it once. I really like Alvin Kamara. Like I said before, he had 20 targets last week that turned 15 interceptions. Between him and Thomas, the Drew Brees, I really like this stack. The only thing is, if you do this stack, it leaves you with 4,400 to fill out 5 other spots. So it is a good roster, but you're going to have to find value, and you're going to have to find value that will get you points. So between these 2, I really think you have a good shot at placing in a lot of tournaments, these are all GPP plays. I never play cash, I always play tournament. You're more likely to place in those rather than cash. Maybe if you go head to head at this last one, will be a good lineup, but I'm always playing for GPP. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.